mercy follows me. Your kindness fills my life. Your love amazes me. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good, good to me. Nothing and no one comes anywhere close to you. The earth and oceans deep only reflect this truth. And in my darkest night, you shine as bright as day. Your love amazes me. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. Oh, you are good to me, and I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. And with a cry of praise, and with a cry of praise, my heart will proclaim you are good. In the sun and rain, my life celebrates you are good. And with a cry of praise, my heart will proclaim you are good. You are good. In the sun and rain, my life celebrates you are good. You are good. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good to me, and I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout it out. Thank you, Lord.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Press play.
What's up, kids? Guess what? It's our second weekend in June, and we are celebrating because, that's right, we just kicked off our new series, Press Play, last week. All month long, we will be focusing on what it means to have confidence. Confidence is learning to see yourself the way God sees you. Having confidence plays a really big role in our everyday life. A lot of what we do in life can be affected by how much confidence we have in ourselves. If we're a little honest, a little lack of confidence can mess up our plans, don't you think? Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to make a plan? Sometimes plans don't work out the way you expect. But as you see in today's story, sometimes there's a bigger and better plan. We'll see you in just a bit.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Joshua, chapters 5 and 6.
For 40 years, God's people wandered the desert. At last, they reached the land that God had promised them. Joshua led them to the edge of the rushing Jordan River.
The priests will carry the ark of the Lord.
The ark was a beautiful chest that reminded the Israelites that God was with them.
As soon as the priests step into the Jordan, it will stop flowing.
Sure enough, as soon as the foot of the first priest touched the edge of the river, the waters parted. God's people crossed on dry land, just as God had led them through the Red Sea 40 years before.
God did this so that all the nations on earth would know that He is powerful.
Soon after, the Amorites and Canaanites living in the land had heard what God had done. Fearful, they retreated back to their towns, including the high-walled city of Jericho.
Oh, great. Like, how do we fight them now?
God will show us the way.
That evening, Joshua left camp and snuck toward Jericho. The walls loomed impossibly strong.
So tall.
As he turned, Joshua saw a man standing nearby holding a sword.
Who are you? Are you on our side or the side of our enemies?
I have come as the commander of the Lord's army.
Joshua knelt down, face to the ground.
What message does my Lord have for me?
Take off your sandals. The place you are on is holy ground.
Joshua tugged off his shoes.
I have handed Jericho over to you.
Joshua listened carefully as the Lord delivered a message, a battle plan unlike any other.
Wow. Okay. We'll do it, Lord.
Joshua called for the priests.
Get the Ark of the Covenant, and I need 7 of you to march in front of the Ark with trumpets.
Sorry, just warming up.
Joshua gathered the army too.
Time to move out.
Like, do we get to attack now?
March around the city.
Just, like, go in circles?
Some of you march ahead of the Ark of the Lord, and the rest of you march behind.
Can we at least shout and stuff? Hey, Jericho, you guys smell like cheese!
Don't give a war cry or raise your voices until the day I tell you to shout. But the priests must blow their trumpets. Forward, march!
The entire army, including the priests, marched one time around Jericho, just as the Lord had instructed Joshua.
Now can we get them?
Back to camp, men. We march again tomorrow.
The next morning, the Israelites marched around the city once again. And then on day 3, once again on day 4, not to mention day 5, and once again on day 6.
We march again at sunrise.
I have blisters.
At dawn on the 7th day, the army and priests formed their strange parade once more. But this time, once they finished marching around the city one time, Joshua called out,
Keep marching!
Again? My feet are killing me.
The Lord has told me we must march around the city 7 times today.
On the 7th time around, the priests blew a long blast on their trumpets.
Now shout! The Lord has given you the city!
You're smelling cheese!
As the shouts of the Israelites rang out in the clear morning air, something incredible happened. The massive walls of Jericho began to tremble. The gates shivered and quaked. Jagged cracks ran through the heavy stones. Rocks began to tumble from the tops of the walls. Little rocks, large stones, giant boulders, until at last the walls collapsed, crashing in on themselves. The ground quaked, and plumes of dust burst into the air. As the air cleared, the Israelites stared in amazement. The city of Jericho stood wide open.
Take the city!
With nothing standing in their way, the Israelites charged right in. That day, they completely defeated the city of Jericho. God was with Joshua, and he became well known everywhere in the land.
When God told Joshua to take over the city of Jericho, Joshua probably thought of a battle plan. But the battle plan didn't involve marching around the city wall for a week, blowing trumpets. So Joshua followed God, and the Israelites took the city. He had confidence that God's plan was bigger and better. That's not the only time God proved His plan was better. When Jesus, God's Son, died on the cross, Jesus' disciples had to wonder, what is God thinking? Then in 3 days, when Jesus came back to life, it all became clear. God's plan is always better. The truth is, none of us know what the future holds. Your family might have to move out of the neighborhood, or out of the state, or even move out of the country. You might get sick or break a bone. You might not get put on that team that you tried out for. But when things don't go according to your plan, that's when you need to remind yourself, God's got you. You might not always know what God's plan is, but keep following Him and have confidence that His plan is bigger and better. That's the one thing to remember today. God's plan is the best plan.